What's going on? You locked in with the Innovators YouTube. You already know I got the best interviews right here, man. We in Oakland, California at the legendary Slap Wagon. I got my guy J Thurston in the building. What's going on, bro?
What's good? What's good with you?
Back for the second time.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a,
been a minute.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I was a different person.
Yeah.
I was at a different stage in my career. So, long time ago. Yeah.
Just to get into it, let the people know where you're from, where they can find you on social media.
I'm from Oakland, California, East Oakland to be precise. My social media is at King Season. That's KNGSZN. That's on IG. So, and anything else, it's just Jared Thurston. That's just me.
Let's talk about it. Like, how did you grow up? Was your parents around? What was that like for you?
Growing up, man, I done lived all over Oakland. I grew up with my mom primarily, and my dad wasn't really in the picture like that. My stepdad was, he's a singer,
Mm.
so then, naturally I had an affinity for music just growing up around rehearsals, performances, and things that probably the average person doesn't really get a chance to experience. I experienced from the other end of it. I got to see the not so glamorous aspects of it, but then like the creation process, the like you fall in love with things like that before you even know it. So I grew up, I wasn't like crazy into like music programs and things like that, but eventually it dawned on me how much of an affinity to the arts that I had. So I had a late start in making music, but yeah, and like I said, I didn't live all throughout this city. Um, yeah,
How would you personally describe Oakland, California?
man, Oakland is an underappreciated mecca of talent. It's a mixing pot for all cultures, everything. When you live in Oakland, you take it for granted. When you live in Oakland, you're exposed to literally everything. You don't realize that till you start going other places, and it'll be this centric or that centric. Um, but here we got everyone here, so we are like blessed with having knowledge from essentially every culture. We recognize every culture, and that affects us like nowhere else. Where we have more of a unity, we have a way more laid back and less divisive uh, like energy amongst ourselves. Like we all mess with each other. That's not, you don't see that everywhere. Like all of us do. So
Yeah. No, I rock with that for sure. I think it's interesting with Oakland having such a deep history as far as like the Black Panthers and many other things. Sometimes I feel like now in our new era, it can be overshadowed by other things.
yeah, yeah,
But the history in Oakland, the culture is like, you know how they say like if you grew up in Oakland, you can go anywhere.
yeah,
I truly
yeah,
believe that.
yeah.
I think just in the Bay in general.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland people always have like a certain pride about themselves
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
that travels. Can you talk about like getting into music for you personally? Like, how did that happen originally?
It just kind of, I don't know. It's just one of those things that um, I think I got more of a confidence with the idea of it. This is something I had been wanting to do for a minute, but you dabble in. So what's the first thing that most people do? They start, oh, I want to make music, and I don't really feel like I have a voice, or so my first thing was like, I'm gonna learn how to make beats. And I started, dabbling in that, and then eventually, because people, I'm gonna be real, you first start making beats, people don't really be messing with your beats, so a lot of times you wind up like, you know what, I'm gonna just rap over my beat. How about that?
Yeah,
And then, next thing you know, it's like, oh, like I'm actually pretty good at this. Like, the poetry end of this, like I have a natural aversion to it, so yeah, from there, I started out with a group of close friends, and through as time went on, like everyone kind of dropped out, for personal reasons.
Mhm.
And I just so happened to be the person that, like this was just in me. It wasn't just something I was doing, like this was my actual passion. So yeah, that's,
Talk about like like you said, you did start with a group, but talk about the the determination and the what you saw within yourself to stick it out, because a lot of times you can start something with a group of people, and when the split happens, some people might never make music again after that. They might be pushed away from it. It might just put a bad taste in their mouth. How
yeah.
did you work past that?
It was just an understanding of, everyone has their own paths. It was like I didn't take anyone stepping away as like a something to be discouraged by. I just took it as more of a testament to how much it was in me and what it meant to me, because I didn't think of stepping away. Like, of course, we all go through those points where we're questioning, like, do I want to do this anymore? And that goes with anything that we're doing. But every time that question would come up, it was a sure yes. And so that just helped me be more resilient for like when things weren't when we weren't knocking it out the park. You start music and you have these high hopes. You want to be immediately rocking stadiums and on the top tier and on the level of the people that you look up to in the industry. And for a lot of people, when that is not even in near like the realm of the vision, like, it's like, oh, that's way down the line. For a lot of people, that's discouraging, but it never discouraged me, to the point where I was like, I want to walk away from it. I have too much fulfillment in doing it. So,
No, I like that. Um, you have your own merch, which branding and is super important. Let's talk about like you wanting to get into creating your own merch, and how important is the branding side to you?
oh man. So, it's funny. I was just talking about how sometimes you hear artists and they have these dope ass names, and I'll be like, damn, a little piece of me like low key has like a little like, damn, I wish I had like a dope, but there's a really important for my artist name to be my name, because it's, authentically who I am. Like, my real name is my rap shit, because there's no separation of the two. This isn't like, a moniker or, like a mask that I put on. This is actually who I am. Um, in fact, even more so than the Jared Thurston that might see, regularly. The artist version of myself is like Batman. Batman is who he really is, and
Mhm.
Bruce Wayne is actually the mask. It's kind of like that. So, with branding, it's super important that, for me, that my brand represented exactly who I am, and not some kind of like flash in the pan idea or something that was temporary, or like, I'll always be this. This is who I'll always be, and I'll always represent this. So, that is what my brand, and the whole goal is to draw attention to, what that actually is. What does J Thurston represent? Who is J Thurston? And when you make a connection with who and what that is, then this logo has a meaning to you. You have a connection to that. So,
What would you say like has changed over the years with the music? You've been making music for a long time. What do you think has changed the most with you as an artist?
with me personally, is my willingness to be transparent. Um, you know, when you first start out making music, it's like you're trying to figure out what your voice, what your angle is going to be, what your, like, I know I want to do this, but what impact do I want to make? Who do I even want to be in this industry? And over the years, I was able to, come into a deeper knowledge of self and understand what my purpose is. My music is a conduit for my purpose, where I do intend to reach people. I look at myself now as a modern day philosopher. I'm not. trying to be, the next Lil Wayne or the next J. Cole and I love those guys.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'm a huge fan. But I'm looking at, being the Seneca, the Zeno, the Aristotle, the Socrates, like I'm a philosopher. And that is what my music is. It is philosophy on wax. So,
How did you know that's who you were?
uh,
Is there a moment or a
um,
realization of what?
it was it was a gradual thing, but believe it or not, it came mostly through affirmation. As I start to become more and more vulnerable and willing to, share the inner details, like the inner machinations of my mind and the inner details of things that I was going through and my perspectives and things like that. It was really how it affected the people around me, and not just in my direct vicinity, but in states and countries I've never even visited. I start getting daily messages from people telling me how much I I reach them, how glad they are that I've said a certain thing, or that I've put something out there, or that a song that I've how much a song that I've released has affected them. And it really, that affirmation, like, kind of made me double down and say, oh, this is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. Like, because I get so much fulfillment from that. But, at the same time, it's not, there's nothing unauthentic about it. I am being my authentic self. So it's like, yeah, isn't that the dream? Like, to
Yeah.
get real fulfillment from being who you actually are. And that's, once I connected those two dots, it's like, this is kind of easy.
And I do like that a lot. And I think one of the things about the music industry is people do have to wear a mask. They sometimes have to be somebody they aren't to hold uphold an image,
Hmm.
which can also be detrimental to them because they're going so much against the grind of who they actually are. Now there's a conflict because how do they separate the two?
Right. And
you, I think, when you're acting as if you are as out of your character, you eventually, to me, you become that person that you're acting.
yeah. Yeah. Either you become them, or you're just going to be in constant fatigue because you're putting up this facade. It's like showing up to to a date and putting out there that you're this thing that you're not, and it might actually work for the time being. And as you connect with this person, they might be impressed, but over time that fatigue is going to start to show. And it's like, because this isn't who you actually are. So basically it's like you're living your life, not you. You're exhausted. And then as you start to see people start coming apart at the seams when they're on these high stages, it's like, no wonder. They were literally wearing a whole mask. They weren't even being themselves, and they had to keep that up, for everyone else's enjoyment for all this time. That's no way to live life. And eventually everything will start come, it'll come tumbling down. So,
You've been getting into fitness and working out. Talk about your fitness journey and what made you want to do that.
um, you know, I believe that if you look at how a person carries himself, how they take care of themselves, it's the first statement you can make about how much you love yourself, how much you value yourself. And my most recent journey has been that of self-love. And the physical aspect is just the physical manifestation of it, but it's just the surface level of it. But it's still super important. And so basically, I decided that I would put all my energy into being my most capable, my best self. And through that, I learned so much about discipline, about the things that, to me, make this statement the biggest statements about who you want to be and how invested in that you are. Like, you could go and work out, sure, like that's, but we've all been able to get through life, with last minute makeup work and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So what you're willing to do is a piece of the statement. What you're willing to omit or abstain from, that's what's really saying who you're, like that's your investment. What you're willing to X out of your life, what you're willing to stop doing. That, and so my fitness journey has been more about what I'm willing to not do than it is about what I'm willing to do in the gym. That's the easy part. That's fun to me. What I'm willing to omit from my life, that's where I'm making the biggest statement. Like, this is who I want to be. This is the life that I want to have, and this is what I'm willing to do.
what would you say are some of the hardest things to stop doing?
Man, all the all the shit everybody likes, the things that we're conditioned to believe that we like, but when you take a step back from them, you start realizing how much there was no joy in them, how much you don't actually like them, outside of manipulation, like eating poorly, exposing yourself to certain kinds of energies,
Hmm.
drinking alcohol, um, just all kinds of, like all the things, like we know these things are, toxic for us. Like I'm vegan. I don't expect the whole world to be vegan, but I do think that, as especially in America, the things that we're over consumers. We're like,
Definitely.
we just literally, we make our plate gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and like we do it in every aspect of our lives with the resources that we suck up in order to just keep up things that aren't even necessary. We're almost like a virus more than we are a mammal. And so, like, when we're able to take a step away from that, it's like, and really, it just takes time. You take a step away from it, and you get, like, eventually it filters out of you, and you see things differently. And it's like, oh, I don't even desire that anymore, But this was everything to me a second ago. So
How long have you been vegan?
I've been full on vegan since like October of last year.
Hmm.
Not super long. I was vegetarian for a few years,
Hmm.
like 3 or 4 years prior to that, and then I actually met a friend who was vegan, and they actually convinced me, like, through trial and error,
Hmm.
convinced me of, like, oh, this is, you shouldn't, like, you should think about maybe omitting this, you should think. And I'm like, like, yeah, maybe. And then I was like, okay, you know what, I'll try it. And then it was like, like, I want to say less than a month, and I was like, I can't go back. I know too much. The
Yeah,
way that I feel, the way that my body is operating, the way that my mind, the most important, that your mind, the way that my mind is operating, I can't go back. I can't go back to that. So
nah, I never have went that far as vegan, but the
it
farthest I've went is pescatarian,
was just huge.
which it
That's,
was still was a big jump for me because,
yeah.
like you said, like we grew up eating all type of shit, chitlins and
Mm-hmm. The
all
worst.
things that you think that they're good, and your family comes from the south, and
Mm-hmm.
like, but then you get older, you like, damn, that shit is the trash.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the garbage. We were eating the trash. There's so much pain in our history. Like, when we, I hate, I hate to say this, as Black people, a lot of our traditions, a lot of things that are ingrained in us culturally, no one wants to admit this, but a lot of them come from bad places.
For
It
sure.
comes from straight up slave culture. Like,
Mhm.
we have to admit that slave culture is a huge influencer on a lot of our current practices, the way we even regard each other, but the things that we put in our body, some of the rituals we have in our home, some of our, even our religious beliefs, all that, like, a lot of and so being able to take a step back from that, and stop just saying things should be as they are because that's how they've always been, and instead saying, but why are they that way? Like literally just like soccer, just be like Socrates, question everything.
Yeah.
Why is it that way? You know, like once you start asking questions, you will pick apart so much bullshit that was literally you were blind to before just from asking questions. So
As far as like the new music coming soon, like what can we expect? I know you just dropped a new song in February. Okay, then. What else can we expect coming soon? That song is out on all streaming
all
platforms.
platforms.
You have a new project from 2022. We are not them. Intro vertical from 2022. What can we expect in 2023 as far as project? What can we expect?
Project wise, so what I'm working on is about 75% done, and it's titled um, "I Wish You the Best," and really it'll just be some of my most vulnerable. And for those that follow me, fans of my music know me for being vulnerable, and this will be my most vulnerable music to date. The project will be essentially a mirror therapy session. So no punches pulled, and just with the idea of real healing and really connecting with the average person about the human experience, because what I feel like there's not enough of um, in music is the what's the story of the human experience. We got so much stuff that's been put out there, these fantastical lives that people live, and everyone's the toughest and the richest and the baddest and the this and that, and it's like a lot of people use music as this escapism thing. They like, oh, I want to live life through the eyes of the hardest blood on the set, or
Yeah,
of the like, but it's like what we have all in common we don't want to talk about, like the human experience. We all suffer from it, we all go through it, like the way emotions that we feel. We've all felt heartbreak, we've all had fits of imposter syndrome and depression, or like just these are things that we know exist within all of us. We know that we've shared these experiences. We don't ever want to talk about it, and I think that that connects us. So I'm not afraid to talk about it. So that's my superpower, and that's what this next project will be. The heaviest emphasis of it will be on that.
nah, I like that a lot. And do we have a date for that or
We're looking at late July, late
okay?
July. So,
Y'all make sure to be on the lookout for that. You also have gotten into podcasting,
oh yeah,
the Humble Loser podcast.
yeah, yeah.
How did you get into that? What made you want to do that?
Funny enough, the studio that we're in currently is where I met my co-host, and on some music stuff, and over time, he started his own little pod that he was doing, and he had me on as a guest, and we just clicked, and it was like, oh, let's do it again, and we clicked more, and it's like, we need to do this. And so we decided we wanted to make a platform that that shines a light on the real talent, the real artistry that is coming out of the Bay, not making it about, oh, this person has a bunch of streams, oh, this person has a song with so and so, oh, it was like there's so many dope artists that are on the rise. And some of them, maybe not as much as others, but this like dope nonetheless. And it's like, let's make a platform where your dopeness is what gets you on there. And so I've gotten the pleasure to meet some of like the most talented artists, the most like sometimes they don't even realize it. Sometimes it hasn't even hit them yet, but like artists that have crazy potential, and like I see so much brightness in their future,
Mhm.
and I don't think that a large majority of platforms are willing to like shine that light, like we're not looking to benefit off of anybody or anything like that. We're just like, hey, you're dope. Let's have and the thing is, we'll bring them on there and we just have a conversation with them. I just want to know who you are. We can talk about anything. Let's talk about anime. We
Yeah,
could talk about, like, I don't need to talk about who you're beefing with. I don't need to talk about, like all the industry shit. I want to talk about who you actually are and, what you are. So
yeah,
yeah, that's our thing. That's our brand.
yeah. For you, can you talk about some of like like what has your experience been being from the Bay Area, being in the music industry, seeing like how it is? What would you describe it as? It's been a has like what are some of the things you've experienced in the music industry, being independent, um, pretty much getting out the mud on your own, like
Man, it's and this is just a fair warning to anyone who has music ambitions. And the Bay Area is not it's not a forgiving place because it is a talent cesspool, and because of that, when you come out declaring talent, um, you don't stand out because you might could rap, but it's a dude on my block that has bars like Wayne. It's a dude, like it's everywhere in the Bay Area, like, and so um, standing apart from that is difficult, like making yourself a, and that's I guess early on that was my biggest. I would say if I want to call anything a struggle, it it would have uh, it would have been that. But something I like to say, and actually a bar from a track of mine, that like if you have ambition before you get rewarded, you get punished. Because it's like the audacity of you to think that you are something unique and better, a standout thing in this sea of people. What makes you so special?
mm,
Prove it, and like all of us should expect to have to go through that trial, and the Bay Area is maybe one of the biggest proving grounds because this.
that is that's so true. Hey, that is really true. And it's honestly funny to hear you say that because you know how like on Instagram sometimes if you go back and somebody responded to a story, it could be from years ago, you can see, and that happened to me recently. And so I was like, one day I was running, it was like 2, 3 years ago, and I was making a video saying that how I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm one of the best interviewers in the world, and people don't know it yet. And I was like, damn. And I was looking at it myself at that point, and 2 years later, I'm like, damn. I still feel that way now, but I was like, somebody might have felt some type of way that I said that.
Huh. Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
at the end of the day, to responding to what you said is, I just feel in general the Bay Area is definitely like that. But I feel like sometimes people look at you funny if you feel like you're good or better than somebody.
Yeah.
But I think everything rap to me, everybody wants to be the best.
Yeah.
Like whether they admit it or not, or they want to make the most money. Like
You
that's
wanna you
you
wanna
want
be the
success.
top
You
at
want to be
some.
like
It's a competitive
it's a competitive thing.
sport.
If you're not
Yeah.
in to compete, it might not be the thing for you. Because even if right now you could feel like you're the best, and then next thing you know, somebody's calling you out because they
Yeah.
think they're better than you.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly. Which I always welcome. And that's my thing. It's like, yeah, you're making a huge statement when you come out and rap and you're like, I'm that dude. What's the shit everybody be on? So I'm him.
yeah,
All right, man. So you're the main character, and it's gonna look arrogant to people that you're saying that. Well, fuck it then. I guess I'm arrogant. Because I guess I have to be a little bit arrogant. Like I guess I can't just be humble all the way, or else you motherfuckers ain't gonna take me
yeah,
serious. If I'm sitting here, I didn't seen people with elite talent, leaps and bounds past their peers, and they're tucking it in because they don't want to step on toes. It's like this world is just a big fucking carpet of toes. No matter what you do, you're gonna step on somebody's.
Yeah, not for
So
sure.
just make sure you're doing what your purpose is, because yeah, like fuck that. Yeah, I am that person. So yeah, I will look arrogant. I'm not concerned about that.
And see, to me personally, I don't look at someone saying that they feel they're the best or that they want to be the best as arrogant, because I believe to be in this industry, your confidence has to be high,
Mm,
and there's many moments where your confidence will be low or you'll be down on yourself because things aren't going the right as how you expect them to go.
mm-hmm.
But to me, one of the biggest things as a person you can do in the entertainment industry is know how to build yourself back up mentally,
Yeah,
because you're gonna take some hits.
yeah.
You're gonna be in a situation where you're like, damn, I thought I was gonna get this verse, or this song will do this good, or this video will do that good, and it doesn't do
Mm-hmm.
it.
Oh, that's gonna
You have
happen
to be
to
able to
you.
bounce back from that.
Exactly. The disappointment. Oh, you're gonna have to bounce back from the disappointment, because you're not gonna hit it out the park every time like you think. Like, and sometimes you also gotta understand just how things work. Like sometimes the thing that you think is gonna hit it out the park ain't even the thing that does it for you.
Yeah,
It's something completely different about you that resonates with people. It'll be the track that you thought was a throwaway that people will be like, "Oh, that's the
that's the
one."
one.
You like you just gotta. That's why all you can really do is really believe. Like you say you're this, you better make sure that you believe it. Be sure, and just continue to just push forward as yourself. Be authentically you, and that's what something's gonna resonate. There's how many billion people in this world? You're gonna resonate with a lot of people. That's just law of odds.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people that understand your plight, understand where you're coming from. Your sound is gonna resonate, whatever it is. So just be authentically you. Don't chase after trying to, impress people. Be yourself. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Being yourself, like authentically and confidently, and that's the best you can really do.
Nah, I definitely rock with you on that. Um, is there anything that you want to tell the people before you get out of here?
um I mean, yeah, just be true to yourself. Don't get caught up in what isn't. Just like understand what is, adapt to what is, make the most out of what is, in life. And there's always better and there's always worse, and that's all just it's a perspective thing. There's always older and there's always younger. There's always, richer and there's always poorer. There's always more and there's always less. It's just make the best out of what your life is in this moment and be appreciative of what it is.
We got J Thurston in the building coming out of Oakland. Go check out some of the new singles he's dropped recently. Okay, then he also dropped Wave. Those just dropped this year. Y'all make sure to go check that out. New project coming soon.
Coming soon.
Make sure to follow him on Instagram. Give him Instagram one more time.
At King Season, at KNGSZN.
You already know you locked in with the innovators. We got the best interviews right here. Y'all make sure to follow J Thurston everywhere. I'll be back soon with another interview, and I'll be seeing you again soon, bro. I wish you
Yeah, for
nothing but
sure.
much success moving forward. Keep doing your thing. Keep staying on your fitness journey. Keep podcasting. I love it.
For sure, man. For sure. It's not gonna be as big a gap this next time. We're gonna see each other sooner than
Yes, sir.
that.